Mike,
Big Mike
is former military.
Okay.
And because of some false allegations levied against him, he wound up in the fucking brig. And
That's
just
very
like
common.
our last story, from what I understand, there was some knife play involved. Although this time it was real, and he wasn't the one holding a knife. So I'm going to give him a call up here.
All right.
All right, Mike, are you there, sir?
I am there. How are you guys doing tonight?
All right, outstanding. Now we
Well-
can actually work this correctly.
Well, we got Murphy putting his penis in our asses, so
You know how it goes.
sorry.
I'm watching those problems. They seem a little crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm definitely not happy about it, but it is what it is.
All right, first of all, how long have you been watching the show?
This is my first time watching. I have a friend who is a huge fan of yours and got in contact with me because he knows my story from start to finish.
Yes. We were talking the other day as a neighbor of mine, and I told him what we were planning on doing for Thursday night because I had talked to T. Fitz already, and I thought, this could be a pretty cool idea for a stream. And he's like, oh, man, my buddy's got a fucking story for you. So,
Wow.
here we are.
All right, so what branch of the service were you in?
I was in the Navy. I was in the Navy for 14 years when this happened. I ended up being in the Navy for 17 years total. I made E6 and under 11, and I was actually in RDC when all of this went down. And for those who don't know, that's basically a drill sergeant for the Navy.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so how long were you married before that everything went south?
Was it married or was it a
We were married
relationship?
for 3 years.
Okay.
Okay, you didn't even make it to the first review then.
No. He's inside the first review.
So what went down? I understand there was some knife play involved.
Well, was she a foreign national?
No, but she was a Hispanic young woman, and it actually turned out during the course of the investigation that and I had no clue when I met her. It turned out she was actually a gangbanger from South LA who had moved across the country to start a new life.
Okay.
So you probably saw something similar to this. There you go.
Yeah, so there I was, which is how every good story starts. She had been having mental breakdowns, as in she had actually been hospitalized for attempting to kill herself. We had been having arguments over the situation, and she got upset with me, and it's in the court paperwork verifying this. She felt verbally abused because I raised my voice, so she pulled a butcher knife on me and our, at that time, 9-month-old.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and she attempted to stab us. At this point, I left the house, and I went to Fleet Family
Stab
Service
us?
Center because that's what they tell. Yes,
So
me
both
and
of
the
you?
child in my arms.
Wow.
Yes.
And somehow you were the problem?
Actually, I won the civilian case, and they said she was entirely crazy. It was the
Oh.
military that would get me later.
Oh,
All right, well,
shit.
What did the military do?
So what happened was the military went in after the charges were dropped in the Chicago area. The military went in and court-martialed me anyway, even though I had been found not guilty.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you should have. Yeah, you could have. Wow, that makes me just sick. Were you convicted or did you beat it?
I ended up pleading. What happened was the military left me in jail for 6 months. They put 137% child support payment on my check. And I was told by the time you added it all up, because I had a previous marriage, it was 137% of my check. So once I was released, even if I beat the case, they were going to arrest me for not paying child support.
Holy shit.
All right, wow. How long ago did this happen?
This happened approximately in 2014, so it's been years back. No one even knows any of this has happened. I usually refuse to talk about it.
Yeah, first of all, you should have. I would have. I would have fucking went berserk. Now, number one, when you look at the regulations, this is Army regs. At most, they can take 50% of your check. That's it. So your chain of command doing the 137%, that's an IG complaint investigation against the whole chain of command for even suggesting that is a viable option. And
oh no, it was filed on my behalf. IG complaints were filed, things were done. I just got looked over and over again and told Me Too movement.
Okay.
Didn't matter what came out of my mouth. Didn't matter. In fact, I lost my prize Mustang over this because I took out 2 loans on it to pay attorney fees, and I just kept fighting. I stayed out of jail for actually something like 15 months. Mm-hmm. I won 2 of the court cases because they take you to court for child abuse because they tried to accuse me of that, and I won that one. Mm-hmm. I won the protective order. I won the civil case, and then by that point, I just ran out of money. And of course, you go into a court-martial, and it's not a fair game.
No, it's not. And you should have got your hands on a court-martial attorney. I'm pretty sure
the court-martial attorney told me basically that my best move was to appease her and do whatever she told me to do.
You need to get a different attorney.
Damn,
because that's fucked up.
That is really fucked up.
And you know what? I know lots of guys who have had their military careers ruined because of shit like this.
Yeah.
All right. Now, unfortunately for you, I wasn't in your chain of command because I've actually stopped about 6 guys in my career from getting like royally flambasted. And the woman comes in, she pleads her case to the chain of command. Of course, they're going to instantly white knight for her, and you're the bad guy. And I remember I'm in the office, and the commander's like, "You're gonna sign over your entire check," and the first sergeant's right there, and I'm like, "First sergeant, you're fucking up here by the numbers. You need to get your commander fucking roped in because he's gonna end his fucking career here. You can't fucking do that." and I mean, I got a guy out of being court-martialed because he had a similar thing to you, where there was the civilian side was all shut down. And for you to get court-martialed, I believe it takes the first 06 in your chain of command to put you forward for that. Your sub-commanders can recommend it, but it usually requires an 06 to make that happen.
Well, I was told even if I won my case at court-martial, and mind you, this has been almost 15 months of fighting every day, living out of a barracks room. Even if I won my case at court-martial, I was told I would be immediately processed for an administration board, which would be the same discharge that they were offering me in the plea bargain.
Yeah, but, you know, I don't know. I've played that game myself, and quite literally they wanted to medically discharge me, and I was doing cheetah flips over everyone because I read the regs, and I basically went to 3 different appeal boards, and quite literally, I probably could have extended it for another 2 years. So it'd take them about 4.5, 5 years to put me out. But I got called in by the commander of Fort Drum, and he's like, "We're not going to fuck you." You know. So I took it. But yeah, administrative separation, you can fight that. It's a lot easier to fight that than a courts-martial. So
I won't lie. I really wish I had been a stronger man. But at that point, what was put forward was something like they were threatening to put me to death at court-martial. There were 12 different charges. There were just as many stories as you could just believe. And it's really weird in the court system because you have to disprove it happened, not they have to prove it did happen. So any wild accusation that's made, you have to show where you weren't at the house that day, and you have to have witnesses. And even when you have witnesses, they don't care.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got fucked hard, and there's really not much you can do now about it. What happened to her after the fact?
What do you mean what happened after the fact?
Well, you're divorced from her. Is she back in L.A.? What is she doing?
Oh, well, this was the interesting part. It actually turns out that I'm 1 out of 4 men that she's done this to. So as of 2 years ago, she just put a man in prison for the rest of his life. And every time she has a child, the way she's been settling custody dispute. And obviously, I didn't know this at the time. This was all pulled out through the process of court for the first 2, then me. Damn. And then I found out about the last one because there's a lot of people in my life who have supported me and still watch this case, excuse me. Mm-hmm. But anyway, at that point, she is now homeless. She has 4 children with 4 dads that she is all put into jail. And that's the last I heard about her. I've actually never been allowed to see my son since the day that I tried to take off with him to Fleet and Family Services.
Dude, this is like a Lifetime movie.
Listen, I'm going to be honest.
Wow.
If she's living on the street, you need to file an emergency motion to get custody of your kid.
I did file an emergency motion in Wisconsin. In fact, I admire the fact you talked about regulations because I found several Wisconsin laws that she had broken. For example, you can't commit adultery while you're still married until it's final, but she popped pregnant. So I obviously filed a motion for some stuff to get me some attention, get me some relief, if you will, back to where we're talking about the glass of beers and splitting it up. And the judge told me they just didn't want to hear it. They just flat out told me they didn't want to hear it, and she wasn't going to jail no matter what I did or what I said. They are fully aware that she is homeless, and because of the charges that were placed against me, they just don't want to hear it.
You're going to have to file a federal court case for sexual discrimination. If that court is doing that, you're going to have to go to the federal court. And just say, listen.
This bitch is obviously vindictive. There's a pattern of behavior here. She needs to be in jail for the rest of her life.
And here's another thing you can do. You can do a Freedom of Information Act on all those other 4 guys who got put in the fucking can.
Yeah.
And then you could write up a letter and send it to the Innocence Project.
Yes.
And see if they'll get on board with that, because that is fucked up shit right there.
Yeah.
In fact, you could do the same thing. You could, plead your case to the Innocence Project and let them know that, she fucking has an MO of doing this. She's done it 4 times in the past. She fucked me over. I want to get emergency custody of my kid, and the court I'm at says they won't do it. I'm telling you, you can really fuck them up. Listen, I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving you like direct legal advice, but in my limited capacity, that is what I'm seeing. It's going to cost money.
Yeah.
All right.
Unfortunately, the bureaucracy of this country is created in such a way where everyone wants their pound of flesh, and you don't get the justice that the Constitution supposedly guarantees you unless you're willing to pay that.
Correct. And if she's living on the street, are those kids with her, or are they in foster care now?
They are with her. She's staying on somebody's couch right now. Or this is the last I've heard. This is almost a year ago because, of course, they won't let me have any contact with her or my children.
All right.
Or my child.
Well, get up.
So because she made this accusation, I can't push forward with any more. Now, it turns out that the gentleman she put in jail also had an ex-wife, and she actually works with me. The young lady actually helped me, and I showed up at her case because we tried to work together. It's just been wall after wall after wall in this situation.
You're gonna have to take them into federal court, and because this is obviously a violation of your constitutional rights. You have a right to raise your fucking kid. It's supported by the Supreme Court. They have like 2 or 3 judgments in regards to that, and your local court that won't do anything about it. You're going to have to take them into federal court and sue them.
Wow.
I will definitely focus on that. I just finished my master's, and I'm hoping to get into it, but I have a lot of barriers to employment now. And as you said, it's a pound of flesh every time to fight this stuff.
I know.
It's just got to be a collection of money.
Yeah, I love how your constitutional rights now have a tab that you got to pay some jackhole like $300 an hour just to get your constitutional rights defended.
Well, I've actually this happened just 2.5 years ago for me. I was trying to get additional time with my youngest daughter.
Yeah,
and the magistrate looked at the case and was like, you've already done this 7 years ago. No, we're not doing it. And you're going to pay her fees. And I'm like, oh, I'm paying her fees? Fuck you. I need to see the real judge.
Yeah.
She goes, well, I am the judge. I go, no, you're the magistrate. I paid a motion fee to talk to the judge, not you. So I want to talk to the judge. I went in front of the judge. The judge is like, he's absolutely correct. He's retired. His circumstances has changed. I have no idea why she did that. And I'm literally like, well, I'm probably going to file in federal court against the Macomb County for this. And like, well, she didn't know. I go, if I broke a law and I came before you and said I didn't know, ignorance is no excuse.
Unless you're Hillary Clinton.
And a fucking judge that's working underneath you is making these egregious mistakes. I'm like, this is a big problem.
Yeah.
And
obviously they were some sort of quota filling hire, and they didn't understand exactly what the job entailed.
Yeah, I would not. I would fucking move heaven and earth to get my hands on my kid, especially if the kid was living in the street or couch
hell
surfing.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no fucking way I would put up with
man.
that.
My heart goes out to you, Mike. I mean, this is one of the craziest stories that I've heard, and we've been doing this show now for almost 10 years.
I've heard some crazy ass stories. Like Steve, our buddy Steve, he lost his entire military career.
Yep.
He had 13 years in the service. The guy spoke 6 languages, 4 of them fluently.
Yep.
Mandarin Chinese, some other type of Chinese, and then Korean dialect and Japanese. He could use all the whiz-bang fucking equipment. He fucked up and married a local national, and she decided to do the black marketing thing, which used to be big over in Korea. After the 3rd time she got popped, he said, listen, I'm going to have to divorce you. I'll take care of you, blah, blah, blah. She got all upset.
Oh, boy.
Made a bunch of accusations. And they put a bar enlistment on him, and he got bounced out after 13 active years. It fucked his life up, and he's been fighting with that ever since. He's been, he's just now been able to get a real job.
Yeah,
because they went. She made the claim he had kiddie porn on his computers.
Oh boy!
And they literally swooped into the house. They took all of the computers, all the laptops. There was nothing on them. But still, that is in his record, so it's been fucking causing all kinds of problems.
It is so nuts.
Yeah, and this is like par for the course.
Yeah. Oh, so
it surprises me how many times I hear the same thing over and over again.
And that's why I came up with administrative violence.
Yep.
Because and you could go after the judge too.
The law, the judge, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, they all were home when you lived.
But the thing is, the judge, you can't do it yourself. You need to have a minimum 5 guys. 15 would be better. And because once the judge knows what you're doing, they'll fuck with you.
Yeah.
And you file a Freedom of Information Act, and this is what you want. You want all of the donors to this judge's election.
Yep.
All right, and then you go file another FOIA, and you want to have all the case numbers that this judge has ever sat before. And then you have the donors and the cases, and you just search for names.
Yep.
Oh, there's a donor. Positive fucking outcome.
Boom, 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 boom.
File a formal complaint with your state against the judge. It's got to be notarized. It can't be it has to have a name on it. Now, once you have that list of all the cases, you have all the ammunition you need to go after the judge.
Yeah.
Because quite literally, you just start making phone calls. Hey, remember Judge, fuck you in the ass? Did he fuck you like he fucked me? Do you want, do you want to file a complaint, with the state? And then you can go get the transcripts, because judges and attorneys have to follow ethics and the law.
Yep.
So if that judge, when you go through the transcripts, if he's getting spicy and stupid, boom, that's a complaint.
It is a lot of work.
This is a lot of work. But the thing is,
it could be worth it.
You keep copies of all the complaints that you send up there. Sooner or later, that judge is going to have to run for re-election. You take copies of all of those complaints. You hand them to the person running against him, and you say, this is what you need to bring that judge down. And keep this in the back of your mind. We can do the same fucking thing to you.
Boom.
Because, if a judge has been on the bench for like 8 years, it's really not that much of a stretch. You can get 200 to 250 complaints going.
Yeah.
And that judge...
Especially if his name is Judge Fuck You in the Ass.
Yeah, because the thing is there's a formal complaint goes up to the state. That judge, they're going to contact him, and he's going to have... They're going to make him tap dance and find out what the fuck's going on. Now, can you imagine a judge sitting on the bench? He has a full caseload. And on top of that, he's got to answer meticulously 250 fucking complaints on top of that.
That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but unfortunately, I mean that's the way it has to be done.
That dude, he would probably at that point he might step down.
Yeah, he might.
You might not even make it to re-election if you got 250 complaints against you, and the media gets a hold of some of them. Boom.
See, and like when I hear stories like yours, man, it just makes me so angry. Like I literally in my mind, I'm envisioning just doing horrible things to these people in the dead of night. Walking their garbage.
It's a day at a time. I made it work for myself at the end of the day, and I'm slowly still working on things, as you will.
Yeah.
You're playing the long game, and as a dude in the West, especially if as a divorced dude in the West, it's what you got to do.
I'd have to
Sometimes I took a lot of swings in the beginning. I went as hard as I could for almost 15 months. That's why it took so long for that to happen.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a standard tactic. They throw you in jail for a long amount of time to try to wear you down to take the plea.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee you, if you did not take that plea and went to trial, chances are, or the court-martial, you would have got a better result. Especially in the court-martial, you're like, why am I here? All the charges were fucking dropped. There's no fucking evidence.
Yeah.
Did this happen on a military installation or was it in the civilian sector?
It was actually in the civilian sector. She had convinced me to move off base to have a better school system for her boys.
I'm going to be honest. They fucked you hard.
Yeah.
Because if the incident happened off post and the civilian authorities dropped all the charges because of there's lack of evidence, the courts martial didn't have standing.
No.
In my opinion.
Damn.
I'm so sorry that happened to you, bro.
Yeah.
It'll work itself out. I actually tried to go to the Supreme Court, believe it or not, and they turned down my case.
Fuck's sakes.
Well, I mean, they probably turned it down because there's a whole bunch of layers in between you got to try first.
Damn.
It's unfortunate, but that is fucked up.
All right, Mike. We're getting on toward 9 o'clock, but I really want to thank you for agreeing to come on and tell your story. I think that a lot of dudes out there are going to benefit from it.
Yeah, and this is very common.
Yeah, it's extremely common. And
thank you so much for having me.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you'd like to join Popp for Supporters Sundays, consider making a donation on Locals, Patreon, or Subscribe Star.